Right, so we're continuing page 7, or unit for the Minucha of Sunan Danger Simos Matifiori. We've already learned in the past, but I want to revisit that because it'll affect the following questions. The machloket about when we say Kedushat Shvi'it, what do we mean? Is Kedusha a transcendent thing, or is Kedusha a matter of Yud, of designation? Thank you. That's the word. Yes, it's Kedusha. So right, so it's Kedusha a matter of designation. Therefore, it's the communal kiddush model, or is it a transcendent thing? So that's the two. Is that we saw this? Just revisit that briefly. The Rambam in Pirush Mishnayot asur liktzot zeilanot b'shana shvi'it im yitzchulu tziporten mipnei shu gozel bnei adam. Hashem tan porotem kol adam. Right, the communal kiddush. You have a kiddush. Everyone's allowed to eat. Who gives you the right to take more and then throw it out? Right, so you have to use it properly. You can't just waste. Right. So Yantiv says this is based on the pasuk. It's not a new invention. It's based on the pasuk. But he disagrees and says there's transcendent kedusha. You don't need to talk about gezel here. According to the Rambam, there's an issue of gezel. We mentioned this as a reason why the Rambam didn't bother saying why did the Rambam not count le'ochla velo lehifsed, le'ochla velo leschora as an isur. Right? Why did the Rambam not say there's an isur le'ochla? Right? What? No, it doesn't say it's an isur. It's not that it doesn't say it's an isur. It doesn't count it as one of the Tarag mitzvot. The Ramban says one of the Tarag mitzvot is le'ochla velo, right? With 613, right? He counts the 613 mitzvot. The Ramban counts one of the mitzvot. One of the mitzvot le'ochla velo le'ifsed velo le'schora. Why is the Rambam not counted? And one of the reasons we saw is because you don't need a separate reason to not steal from people. You don't need a separate mitzvah to not steal from people. Le'ochla velo le'ifsed means since we all have rights. Le'ochla means it's communal. We all have equal rights in it. Mimele, obviously you're not allowed to steal from the others. Like, well, why is that even a question? So that's basically the structure of the Rambam. Now, this is going to affect the following question. Let's have a look here. The Rav Akshidoron says this explicitly, so let's read it. Bottom page 8. The transcendent aspect of the Hefsed. אולי מי איסור לאוכלה ולא להפסד כסברת הרמב"ם שיש ליוג שפרות שביעית יהיו לאוכלה ולא לגזול את הרבים. יש לכם תואפות, אסור להפסדם בכדי לא לגזול את הרבים. Here's the question. The question is, why is he referring to that specific nafkamina? The question he was asked was the following. They were growing oranges, right? In the Shvela, they grow oranges. And every year they have to go through the fruit and throw some off the tree. They just snip it and let it fall, right? Have you ever seen, right? You can see because too many oranges grow, so the oranges don't grow nice and round unless you get rid of some of them, right? And the question is, are allowed to do that Shmita fruit, or to potentially Shmita fruit? In other words, the fruit is not yet edible, but it will be, right? So he says, okay, the first point is, if we're talking about the transcendent aspect, so it only gets kadosh when it's a fruit, when it's edible. Right, Kedushat Shvi'it only applies to things that are edible. So if it's not yet edible, it's not kadosh. So that's easy. Here it's hafuch, right? Normally the transcendent is an objective transcendent kedusha, so there's no way around it, right? As opposed to if you're stealing from others, what depends on what the others are makpid on, depends on what the others will, right? With mochel and will allow you to throw out. It's supposed to transcend, you can't throw it out because it's holy. Period, right? Here he says nafkamina is the other way around. If the oranges are not yet edible, there's no transcendent kedusha in them yet. But you'd still be wasting other people's oranges. The next step is going to be yes, but still you have to ask what is the greater good, right? And how much are you allowed to take the greater good into account? So that's what he says in the next paragraph. On page 9, לפי זה יש מקום להתיר דילול פירות בשביל לצורך גידול מסודר, אם מבלי הדילול הפירות לא יבשילו, ובלאו הכי לא יאכלו. So if too many fruit are growing and your assessment is that the fruit just won't grow well, so you could waste some of the people's things, but that's what we call investing, right? You're investing in the potential of the other fruit by throwing these fruit out. It says, but those are my fruit too. Who gives you the right to throw them out? It says, well, since we all agree that we want better fruit, or we all agree that we want good fruit, we'd rather have less good fruit than having a lot of rotten fruit, right? So that's not waste, that's investing, that's investment. And that's why that should be okay, also according to the Rambam. So there are two. Sorry? Oh, so that's the next paragraph. Hold on, we're getting to that in 1 second. Yes, it's a fair point. It's correct. So like this. So his halacha l'maaseh, he said, well, you need to do two things. You need to pick them before they're edible. You pick them just to throw them out, right? You need to get rid of them before they're edible. That way, there's no transcendent kedusha yet. In terms of that's for the kedusha side, right? For the transcendent side, right? The gezel side, well, that depends on what society would prefer. Society would prefer good fruit than bad fruit. They do it every year, correct. But the question is how much. So that's his next paragraph. Yesh ladun madin dilul perot כשבלי הדילול יהיו ראויים לאכילה אבל בטיב גרוע. דילול הפרי נותר יתרבה. הפסד הפירות ולצורך גידול הפירות שביעית, הרי זה לא אכלה ולא להפסד. So this is a difficult question. Why? Because Rafi says, but for 6 years you always throw out the bad fruit. So this year you won't, or you'll throw out, even potentially good fruit. What makes this fruit better than this? Nothing. You just have to get rid of one of them. Otherwise, I won't have good fruit at all. Right? All right. But why would Shmita be different in that sense? So the answer is because if you want to get more, if you want to sell the oranges for more, you have to sell better quality oranges. That means that some poor people won't be able to afford the oranges. That's not the owner's problem, right? The owner wants to make a profit. He's willing to what? Yeah, the other 6 years, correct. Sorry? It's about profit. It's not about community, correct. Right? His interest is making profit. There's certain segments of society they won't be able to afford it because they'll have their few oranges, they'll sell for more. Right? That's not his problem. He's running a business. He wants to profit well off the oranges. So he wants the oranges to be good quality. Not only the best quality, they'll be very expensive. So he finds a middle ground where most society will be able to buy the oranges. But what about the poor people? He doesn't care about the poor people. They're not his. He gives tzedakah. It has nothing to do with his business. In his business, he worries about the rich people also buying the oranges, and therefore he has to have good quality oranges. On Shmita, are you allowed to make such a cheshbon? That's a problem, right? Because on Shmita, also the poor people should be able to eat the fruit, even if they can't eat the fruit the rest of the year, right? So kiwis are very expensive, right? Kiwis. Saying oranges sounds like that's not a good example because oranges, in the end, I think also poor people afford oranges. Very expensive, but so most people afford oranges. What about a kiwi or pineapple, right? So what happens if I have the same question by kiwis, right? I say I'm going to have to get rid of some of the kiwis so that the others will grow well, and then I sell the kiwis for 20 shekels a kilo. They say, you could grow them not as well and then sell them for a bit less and you'll have more. I say, right, but then a lot of people aren't going to buy them. So I'm not going to do that, thanks. Right? I'm running the business, you're not. On Shmita, you aren't running the business. So, all right, oranges, it's only, the bottom 10 percentile that won't buy during the 6 years. And kiwis, the bottom 40 percentile of people won't buy the kiwis because they're too expensive. So during Shmita, oranges and Nagia is harder to make this assessment, but kiwis, I don't know if this happens in kiwis. I don't know if there is abundance of kiwis that harms the other. I'm saying theoretically, you say, so have lower grade kiwis, but more of society will enjoy them, right? Why? What, too complicated for this hour of the night? Oh, okay. No, so that's why he says now. So that's a debate. In other words, he says as long as it's to allow any fruit to come out, clearly you can throw it out. What about if I want to create better grade fruit? Who gave you the right to create better grade fruit on Shmita? Now you could argue, yeah, but people are going to lose out. No, they won't. They're going to lose out on the good quality fruit. So what? But I'm allowing a different segment of society to enjoy it. There would be an abundance, and then also the poor people will be able to eat it. So during the other, as I said, during the other years, it's not my problem, but during Shmita, it should be a problem.